They are located in Davidson, North Carolina, while serving all of North and South Carolina to the Florida coast and the Tennessee mountains. They are the Mortgage Planner, Carolina's #1 mortgage radio, premium lending experience, along with mortgage planning that builds wealth. Ranked top of the nation for over 3 generations, 3-time best-selling author, here's your host, Brad and Jacob Roche.
Welcome to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, 704-412-2727. Back in the studio and with Jacob, my regular co-host. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well.
But you brought a friend today, brother.
I did. I brought Julia Cocchi with Julia Cocchi Realty Group.
Her own realty group. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I am great. Happy to be here.
We've been hanging out for a minute, though. Let's tell it. We got the best sandwiches just brought to us for lunch.
Homemade. It was
I'm
fantastic.
telling everybody. I even took a picture because she brought us lunch. We've closed a couple successful deals, and they have gone great. And I tell you, it could not go without your efforts.
Oh,
so
thanks.
Let's dig in. We don't bring any bozos on the show. Do we clarify that up front? We
That's
bring
for
good
sure.
people, right?
Yep, that's
so
for sure.
You're not a rookie to this. You've been
No.
doing this for a minute.
About 2,400 minutes. 24 years.
24 years.
From coast to coast.
Yeah, coast to coast. That's
Give
right.
us a little background on you. You started in California, right?
I did. In 2000, I had a couple of very successful businesses going, and I wanted to do something separate from the businesses that I had already going. And I thought real estate would be fun.
You're a nut.
I am not. I was, and I still am.
Me too.
Yeah, so I got involved in 2000, and I watched some of the most successful people in my office and other offices around, and I thought, I wonder how they're doing that, because I always like to achieve at a high level. And I asked, and I was told, this is the way you do it, and so I did it that way. And
with a little bit of your twist, I would imagine. I've seen you move on deals, is why I bring that up.
yeah.
One of the best. See, there's, so you came from California. You've now been here a year and a half.
Year and a half,
Year and a half, and to the Carolinas. So California, like you said, coast to coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
What market specifically in California were you in?
Yeah, so I started in the Santa Cruz, Monterey Bay area, and I was there for 24 years. Excuse me. I was in that area. I lived in that area for 24 years, and I did 10 years in the Santa Cruz, Monterey area, and then
what was the price range there when you were doing it?
My very first sale in 2000 was $475,000, and it was a starter home for some
What
folks.
year again? You said that
2000.
2000. Okay,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It there wasn't a lot that was a lot less expensive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So did that, and then probably on the high end, beach properties were $5 million.
Yeah, isn't that something? So what would those be worth now, do you think?
Oh,
You
golly.
seen it?
Yeah, much more.
If you would have stayed, you would have made more money now, right? just observation. But you're here in the Carolinas now, why here?
Well, I just, I wanted to make a change, and my sister has lived here for 7 years, and I would come back and forth a couple of times a year and visit her, and I would leave and I would think, wow, I don't know if I think I could live here. Not that I didn't want to go home, but I was like, oh gosh, I really like the environment.
What was the big difference? Like
Yeah,
California, where you're talking, man, that's like he's ready to go hit the clubs on the links right now, playing golf there and
Yeah.
enjoying. You're mentioning beaches,
Yeah.
and so what's different here?
So I think the difference is the pace. For me, I found it to be friendlier in general, and the pace just slower. And I'm not saying slacking kind of slow, but slower, more, people that are really intentional when talking to them about things because they're taking the time. The cadence is a little slower.
The people here are nice.
Yeah, they are nice. They are
Hey,
nice.
I'm telling you, when we moved here, I'm going at 12, 13 years now?
Yeah.
And same thing. It's a different pace, and it's more appreciative. It's like everybody here wants to be here kind of thing, right?
I think that's
Makes
true.
it neat.
Yeah.
Now, you've jumped into real estate. You've got your own brand. We're off and running.
Yes.
No way to represent besides doing it by yourself, going and representing your own brand. What's a good client for you? And I know that's kind of a generic question, but where do you really find you excel?
Yeah. I have always divided my business equally between working with sellers and buyers. And I actually excel really well on the selling side with people who maybe have something going on that's a little harder for them, where they really have to sell. And so you're kind of massaging the transaction along the way because they need to sell this home or this property. And I am a good listener, and I can suss out what it will take to get the job done so they get what they want, and keep it non-adversarial, because a lot of times they're already facing adversarial situations anyway. So for sellers, I like working with sellers, specifically those sellers who have kind of a situation going on. And then with buyers, I know we had a little conversation about this earlier, but I like buyers that really want to buy. I mean,
that's a funny first line on a buyer.
Yeah.
Because we've talked on the show before where we've said, how come you can find a house so fast and other people are like, there's nothing out there, or this didn't work, and they sit for month after month.
Yeah. There are people that, again, it has to do with their urgency, their desire to buy that next home, even if it's just because we've been in this house for 25 years and we just want to be in this other neighborhood or this other town. It doesn't have to be a situation thing. And I have been getting a number of buyers who are coming into the area. So,
like you.
Yeah. Luckily, I had my sister who's an agent who could help me, so that was awesome. But anyway, buyers are, they have a lot on their mind. And so the best buyer for me is the one that is very intentional, doesn't have a whole lot of strings attached to it, and will give me great answers to the questions that I ask, so I know what direction to send them.
Helps you.
It does.
A motivated buyer.
A motivated buyer.
Ready to get
I'd say even specific, being more specific of what they're looking for.
Yeah, I agree.
Answering the questions right. That's a big deal. 704-412-2727. I have some fun stuff for you guys when we take this break here coming up that I'm going to come back to. And I'm going to ask some questions. You might not do as good at this, though. Because you've only been here for under the 2 years here. You might do okay, but I think you'll both be surprised at some of the hot areas around Charlotte within about 45 minutes. Like, what's appreciating the best? What ones are more appealing? Kind of interesting. I was surprised at the list, so we'll go through that when we come back. But we got a phone number for her to be able to reach out and get a hold of her if you're looking to list your house or buy a house and you got some specific needs. And you can tell somebody who's listening. I hear that a lot, and not getting the details, or they're not hearing what I'm looking for. And I can promise you the houses are out there. You need somebody listening to be able to help you find it, or find that seller and move that property. If you're in a situation, she'll be able to help out. Now you can say the number. You look at me like, you done yet? Almost, buddy. The time's almost up.
Julia Cocchi with Julia Cocchi Realty Group, 704-924-1142.
Now, we're also going to have her information posted at fortheplan.com, the number fortheplan.com. Check that out. There'll be a link to the show also to get a hold of her for any needs that you have. Now, I think as the interest rates, drop down, we'll spend a minute on that today as well with some averages that are out there. But it's going to be more competitive. It's going to take someone who knows how to negotiate. It's going to take someone who knows how to listen to you. And it's some of the, doesn't it sound easy, right? Just listen. People get moving so fast sometimes you miss the details that help you get the house that gains you the appreciation later. So we'll be back. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to The Plan. Back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, the mortgage planner, 704-412-2727. I got excited there. I didn't even have my mic on and ready to go. Let's get this done. All right, we're back. Why? Because I got good, fun stuff for you guys. So do you trust, this isn't the trivia I was going to go over with you, but Google or AI? Who are you going to for information?
I would have to say AI, personally.
Okay.
Same.
AI, really?
Yeah,
wow.
AI.
Okay, so I'm surprised. Okay.
They actually, when you Google now, you notice that they have AI.
Yeah, it is AI, isn't it?
Yeah,
okay,
that's normally what I read on Google.
So that was a trick question. I didn't even know I was
That's
asking.
why I was quiet for a minute there.
So here's what I asked AI. I thought this was pretty cool. But now this also comes with, I said, hey, don't give me any fluff. I want some stats on this, right? So I said, what are the best areas to purchase around Charlotte, North Carolina, within 45 miles? What do you think? Now, have you been, I need to ask you, we are on camera. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Have you been looking at my sheets? Anybody listening could rewind this, but have you been looking at my sheet?
I have, and my answer would be without saying it.
You saw it. You're looking at it while you say it.
It's right in front of me. I would have said Huntersville.
You would have. Okay, well,
just north of Charlotte.
That was wrong, though.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, I thought he was going to give the number one answer. Now.
Oh, really? I can't see. So
okay, good. We're in good shape. Where would you say?
I'm going to say the Denver area.
Denver area. Okay.
No?
So no, I'm gonna say Huntersville was number 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now let me scroll down a little bit here, and Denver is not showing on the top 10.
Wow.
Now, I find that interesting because Denver is a gem, and it's funny her being here as long as she's been here knows that.
Yeah.
You know, as an area to go. We go out there often. Now, number 1.
I would say that Denver's like top growing, in my opinion. I say it's only a matter of time before it gets to the other side of the lake.
So AI is stupid. So we uncovered
Well, they're
that.
not local.
I'm not going to say that. I don't know what all AI can do. Yeah,
May
AI
I make
is not
another
local.
guess?
Yes.
Okay. Knowing that Denver wasn't on there, I'm really going to go out on a limb here. I think Sherrills Ford is another area.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Sherrills
Ford's top growing
Ford.
too.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. Oh,
Nope.
man.
Wow.
I do have resources to back this up, just in case. We'll post this online.
been
I think this is pretty.
fact-checked on that.
Now here, I didn't tell you this. I started this off terrible. I said stats are included.
Oh.
So here's the issue with it. You got to account the appreciation that's happening in that pocket. Okay. So now, interesting though, Denver wouldn't be on the list with all the lake property that's out there, right? Because I know that's appreciating better. So number 1, I'll give it to you, is Davidson, North Carolina, home of our home office, Element Home Loans, by the way. That wasn't intentional. I didn't tell AI. Well, maybe it knows where I work. Making me feel good, you think?
Possibly.
Okay, I'm getting silly, but let me tell you why this is. So average home in Davidson's around $600,000, steady appreciation rate of 5% annual.
Wow.
5%. So then I look at number 2, which is completely not even around here, you would say. It goes down to Fort Mill. And here's where they're coming from. That's a 4.5 appreciation rate on average. But your tax rate's going to be low. So see, here's, when we're looking at properties, when someone's coming to buy a house, they look at the house, but you also got to compare the numbers of that property with some appreciation rates and of that nature, meaning that the tax rate, brother, in Davidson versus Fort Mill is going to be very, very different.
Almost double.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of different. Now, Huntersville fell in 3 at a 4.2 appreciation. Cornelius, home of the radio show right here, 4% average, 525 is the sale price. So the sale price is average a little bit different. Let me give you Davidson. I'll give you some of these numbers and we can talk about them. 600 average sale price, 5% appreciation in Davidson. Then we went Fort Mill at 4.5 appreciation, 450,000. Huntersville, 475 at 4.2 appreciation. Cornelius, 525, 4% appreciation. See, that's surprising to me. You wouldn't think Cornelius would be a little bit higher than that on the averages. I would.
I think
Concord came up number 5 at 3.8 appreciation. Now, the average price range, very interesting, all the way from number 1, which is Davidson, all the way down to Indian Trail, Kannapolis, hot property area. Now, see here, this is what it goes. 600,000. Think about this. 600,000 average sale price with 5% appreciation in Davidson. And now I'm going to Kannapolis, which is a 325 sale price average with 2.5% average appreciation. Now, I see your eyebrows on that. Here's I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
However, isn't it up and coming in comparison to Davidson? Kannapolis, up and coming.
Yeah.
You were just out there. What were you loving about the area?
The baseball stadium is brand new. They have breweries, seltzeries. They got...
There's 2 drinking out of 1. Well, you probably drank at the game. No, see, that's all drinking.
I have to say, I didn't go to
Not
any
a
of
big
those.
drinker. I'm joking with you. But so a lot of activity going on over there.
Yeah, very nice downtown area.
Wouldn't you say that is appreciation-wise, averages don't always tell the story?
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of where I'm coming from. I think you can get a heck of a buy. Now, we started off, I mentioned wonderful lunch today, that was brought to us by yours truly there.
Thank you.
Which is awesome. But you all were talking about DSCR product.
Yes, and
program.
And we had just closed one out, and that was... So I did want to bring that up, that deal that we had done. It was DSCR.
What are we going to call them? I always like to make up a fake name when we're going to talk a deal. John?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we're going to go with John.
John.
Yeah,
Okay.
that works.
Okay, go ahead.
So we had done DSCR.
John did. Go ahead.
John ended up doing financing as DSCR. So I wanted to ask you, Julia. I knew a little bit about it, but how did that deal come together? Was it foreclosure, or how was that property set up?
That was a couple that really needed to sell.
Okay.
They had filed bankruptcy and they were getting a divorce. So
tough situation. That's why I called it John. You get it now? There's two of them. Okay, so people had to sell.
They had to sell. It required court approval, and it was messy. But because John wasn't going to be moving into the house, he didn't have a tight window at which he needed to get that deal done. So he knew going in it would take a while to get it done. Once we did all of the inspections and all of that jazz, we would have to then send it over to the attorney to get it to the court to
And they have to bless that whole process.
The court, it has to do it. And then, of course, if you miss a date, it doesn't go onto the calendar the next day. It's the next month.
Were they still in the house?
They were not still in the house.
So house is vacant.
House is vacant.
John's buying this as an investment property. And DSCR, we're way ahead of ourselves. We act like people were just there with us at lunch.
Yeah.
What is DSCR?
So we have mentioned that on a previous show, but DSCR really, it's basing our purchasing, or it's refinance too, but based off the rental income of the property. So appraiser goes out, he does a rent comparable, called a 1007 on the appraisal. He takes a number and which is the monthly rent, and that's what the main qualifications for this. Now it is 20% down or greater. But
some programs are out there with less, but we don't even mention it. Like you can do a 15% DSCR. You probably didn't say anything about it.
No, we talked about it.
We did, but it's junk because the rate goes up so high. It just doesn't make sense.
It'll show negative cash flow typically, unless you have a killer deal. It's probably going to show negative cash flow, which
meaning you're buying it cheap.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
sale
then,
price.
And then the monthly rent that's coming in won't cover the payment, so then therefore showing negative cash flow, turning rate ultimately lower. I mean, I'm sorry, a much higher rate.
Yeah.
Since the lower rent's coming.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
It's the worst deal.
Yeah, exactly.
How important is it on the appraiser side when you're doing these deals? You got to have a good appraiser, not coming from Timbuktu.
Yeah.
And I love what our company has done with this. I don't know if you know this or not, but we have a panel that we're allowed to approve. So some of the big banks, right, your bigger brand banks will have 40, 50 of them, right? They throw the number out there, then somebody bids on it, accepts it, and goes and does the offer. Well, so we've got about 8 appraisers with an expanded panel through the same management company, and they all are within 15 miles, 20 miles of is it 20? I think it's 20.
Yeah, you're
20
right.
miles of the property.
That's
so where their office address is registered, they're coming closer, and they've been doing it for a while, which I know makes a difference in getting those tougher deals done, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this deal didn't seem like it didn't seem like there was a lot of drama on that at all.
I think I would have been I would have been a little bit more worried if I would have known that if we didn't close on that date, it would have jumped to the next month. Thankfully, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But we did close it very quick. I mean, what was it?
Very quick.
2.5 weeks?
Yeah, 2.5 weeks.
Explain that for the listeners. So if it didn't close on the said date, this was a court date deal?
Right. We needed to have it approved by a certain... Well, it needed to be approved by the bank. So the bank had looked at it.
And this is because of the bankruptcy of the seller. Seller's in bankruptcy, getting rid of the house. They got to have the attorney help out with the courts getting it approved. So you're going through all the process on the backside, helping them on this.
Exactly. So the court approves the price of the house, the offer price. And then some things happened that we discovered about the house. So the buyer wanted to offer less or get a concession. And I think a concession was the thing. And the sellers agreed to the concession. However, the way we put it on the contract, the way we were going to get the seller concession took some time. And if we had done it one way, we would have had to go back to court because it would have adjusted the net.
So what she's referring to is that typically 3% seller credit is allowed for DSCR.
That's right. I forgot that it was
So then I was able to find an investor that did 6% if you're putting more than 25%
I remember that.
down.
You looked hard on that one. Yeah.
So I read every guideline I could, and I went to several different investors, found one that would take it, and then I actually found if he put 30% down, rate got significantly better. So we got him an awesome deal, no prepayment penalty on it.
What rate did he get? Do you remember?
I think it was 7.125.
Should have said 699. Sounds way better. 704-412-2727 is our direct out to the show. Go to fortheplan.com. We have an investor seminar. You can go to fortheplan.com, register for that. It's 1 hour of some more discussion on investing in rental properties. I had a lot of rental properties in my career, so we've talked a lot about it, borrowing the money, managing the properties, throwing people out, collecting rents. A lot of stories in that one, I'll tell you. Also, Investor Networking event is coming up this fall in Davidson. Number one place to buy a house, I might say, according to your guys' chat thing that we use. So 704-412-2727. We're going to take a quick break. Go to fortheplan.com. Check out some of our other shows if you're liking this one so far. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, 704-412-2727. Direct out to the show. Mortgage rates, 30-year fixed, average 30-year money, 6.57, down slightly from... whatever. They keep bouncing a little bit, but they're down slightly. We'll keep saying that until they actually go down further and further, which the Fed has announced to come out coming up mid-September.
September 18th.
Is it a quarter? Is it a half? Could it be more? Stay tuned. We'll bring it to you. Don't get too excited. They usually, we see it a couple weeks before, even not a week ahead of time. We see those rates adjust. Kind of crazy.
That's great.
And sometimes, it's wild, though. We'll see, because we watch a daily chart on this, and we'll see interest rates before they drop them. They'll get better a week or two ahead of time. Sometimes it's way different, but we'll see them go down. Mm-hmm. Then the day they actually do it, we see them go up. So it's unreal. Like, wow, man. So I always say the news is a little bit behind. So if you're listening to the show pre-recorded, or later and recorded, not probably good. Go to For the Plan, get your accurate rates. So bring up another deal. We got another deal we were talking about. You had mentioned in Denver. You want to talk about?
Julia, you were the buyer's agent on that one as well. Denver. You had brought up Denver earlier in the show, and that being, what's the Denver market like over there?
The Denver market I think it's pretty, really pretty good. I don't want to oversell Denver, but,
Yeah, I wouldn't either. It's not even on the list. I'm just kidding.
That list is
this AI list is lacking.
It has a sweet downtown area that is modern, and then, 16 is the old downtown area, which is also really cool. There's access to the lake, and there's the 55 and older community trilogy is out there.
That's a great spot.
That's great. Great brunch there.
Really good food over there, right? And, but then there are these hidden subdivisions, like you'll just be driving down the road and it's like Highway 16. And then there's a monument that says, I can't remember the name of it, but the Colony. And then, you go in there and there's beautiful homes. It's just a little hidden gem in a way. And so the folks that you and I worked with, I shared, maybe 50 listings, and we looked at 27 listings in 3 days.
Wow. And now where else did you go? You went Denver.
We were in Mooresville.
Another great one.
Yeah, Mooresville. We were in Huntersville. We were in Davidson. We looked a little bit in Cornelius, but that wasn't really going to fly. And I suggested Denver. And I told them it's a little further out than you want it to be, but I believe you get a really good value for the money.
Yeah.
And so we went up there. I took them up there.
And that's funny. That's where they landed out of all the places. Davidson on the list.
And they weren't local.
Even.
They were coming out of state, checking out the property and fell in love out in that area. One of my favorite breakfast places out there. And it was my dad's favorite when he was around.
I had never been there.
Can't remember the name of the place. But it's the only one in town. It's right on the main drag. I'll have it next show, or I'll look it up.
You showed it to me, and it looked good.
Is it that little cafe on the corner of 16?
It's off of 16, and it's right on the corner. And I'll think of the name. I'm going to find it when we go on break, because it's a good one. We'll give them a self-promotion here, because I've eaten there several times and enjoyed it.
There you go.
Now, Mooresville is kind of funny. I saw in here 3.5% increase in appreciation is the average, and 450 price range. So Mooresville's booming.
Yeah.
A lot of new construction, a lot of new houses going in, a lot of houses for rent going in out by the high school there in Mooresville. They've got hundreds of houses going into rent.
I know. And they're building one on Bloom Road at Brawley School Road. That's just rentals.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting, right? Because, and so you see a massive developer do this, and we talk a lot about the cost of waiting.
Right.
I talk about it from the standpoint of people have waited because of interest rates, but you think about the money you're leaving on the table from appreciation. When I read this list, and both of you maybe answer this one, don't you kind of think that the appreciation averages are a hair low for what it's reporting? Seems like
I'm curious, like how many years? You know what I mean? Like an average of
researcher here more down. Steady appreciation about 5% annually. Steady appreciation rate. So I'm going to go down and find my notes, see how long they're going over this. Because that's what I think where you draw in the Kannapolis areas and things like that. Like when we first moved here, I didn't go to Kannapolis very much. There was no ball field. There was no cool brewery. There was no little downtown right across from the ball field. All that is new stuff. How do you take in an average on that?
Kannapolis is just a town over from Mooresville, and I got to be honest, I hadn't heard of it in probably the past 3 years. Was when I started to hear about it. I never even knew it was there.
You know what it reminds me of is Belmont.
Yes, exactly.
Like that name kept popping. Belmont. That didn't happen 10 years ago when I was here, and then that came around a few years in, and now you're hearing more about the Kannapolis. Yeah. Give a number to get a hold of on her end of it, so we have her number online. We'll put it on the website as well.
Julia Cocchi Realty Group, 704-924-1142.
Or go to fortheplan.com. Now, the deal that I want to talk a little bit on the deal you guys were, if I'm remembering the right one, because we didn't name them. I told you I like to name the guys, right? But anyway, they were coming in from out of state.
Yes.
And you had mentioned they had a house to sell.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that. Now, you've met and talked to them a little bit, follow up. And, a lot of people's risk, I would think, in this market is, man, you call it risk because a lot of people, I think, the house is going to sell really fast. That's a pretty common thought. Oh, it'll sell in no time. You know how many people I talk to nowadays that say, oh, it'll sell in no time?
Right.
Well, that's not the case with them.
No, unfortunately, that didn't turn out to be the case for them. I think that their thought was they'd put their house on the market, it would sell, and while it was in escrow, they would come to this area, find their house, knowing that they would be taking the cash from that house to buy this house. And it didn't work out that way. But they still had a timeline that they wanted to be here. And so working with you were able to help them financially get the right loan so that they could
keep
buy
the house they had,
and keep the house they have. Well, they do want to sell it, but it took longer than they anticipated. So.
And we're going on a couple months, right?
Yeah, by the time they got here, it had been on the market a couple of months.
Okay, so now when you typically close on a mortgage, most people you pay, it's different than rent. Like when you move into rent, you're paying before you live there, right? Mortgage, you pay after you live there. It's a little backwards. So they had about 45 days to 2 months with no payment here in the Carolinas while they're looking to sell from out of state. Still, when those 2 months go, it starts creeping in the budget. You're carrying two houses. And you'd said something when we were talking and you rattled it off really quick. And now I want you to say it slow. So you need to remember what it was, first of all. And I gave you no warning. I know, not fair, live on the show here. But you talked about, they said, I don't know why it's not selling. And you said, pop.
Top three reasons.
The top three reasons why a house doesn't sell is location, condition, or price. And in almost every case, if you've seen the house and the house is nice and they had a great little house there, it wasn't the condition of the house.
So that's out. So you started eliminating things.
Yeah. And so then the other was location. It was near the university, great location. So it wasn't that. And so then that only leaves price, and I know it's hard as a seller. You want as much money as you possibly can. And, if you're paying for your house month over month while it sits on the market.
What'd you lose? Right.
What did you lose by not just pricing it aggressively in the beginning? And that is one of the questions that I like to ask my potential sellers is, let's talk about what your timeline is so that we can get it sold in that timeline. Do I want to leave any money on the table? Absolutely not. But
But they are leaving it on the table if the sucker drags out there.
Exactly.
And then you're going to get somebody coming in lower in offer because it's been sitting there too long.
Exactly.
It does you no good.
It doesn't do anything.
So was it overpriced for the area or overpriced for the house?
It was overpriced, I think, for the area. And I remember, I'm not their realtor there, so I don't know. But I think that it was,
well, like she's saying, she's eliminating a couple on the list. Condition was not an issue.
Not
It's
at
a
all.
beautiful little house for the
Location
price range. Location's in a great location to whatever's going around on there. You don't have to do much to research that part, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And, so it has to do with price. Now, here's what I would tell you. I think a lot of people over the last, I'm going to guess, 7-8 months, their house was worth more, was going for more 7-8 months ago than it is today.
Yeah.
And I just read to you all kinds of appreciation results, right? So it's interesting. Did that mean houses went down? No, they're not appreciating as fast. You don't have as much competition out there, do we? Is the competition thick?
I think they're still pretty.
I think it's still going. Yeah, I think there is competition. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Plan. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, the mortgage planner, joined in the studio. We got a live crew going today, buddy. We're having a good time. 704-412-2727 is the call-in number, or go to fortheplan.com. Covered a lot of different stuff, DSCR being one of them. If you're interested and got to get a deal put together, we got it for you. You got the loaded show today. We're covering a lot of different topics, a lot of different appreciation rates. Some case studies are on the website I want to remind people about. I also want to remind them about the upcoming Investor Networking event as well as the investment seminar. Jacob, what else you got on today's agenda?
Well, we were talking about competition, and it seems like there's a lot of houses going quick, and then there's some that are sitting for a little bit. I think the biggest piece is tell if we're wrong, Julie. Is it if they're priced right, or is it, what do you think of competition in the market?
What I'm seeing is that some homes are priced as if interest rates were much lower. Excuse me, and there's going to be a flood of buyers. And they're beautiful homes in beautiful areas. And they sit for a little bit, right? Other homes, the day it goes on the market, it's out the door. So I think that it's still some overly optimistic pricing happens. And then I think that the price point matters. For some of the folks who are struggling to get into their first home and the interest rates are higher and whatnot, they're struggling a little bit more. They're a little more timid. They're back and forth. They're still not 100% committed to buying. But in every market, there will be those homes that just jump off the MLS, and then there's others that will stay. Yeah. And so I think not being afraid to make adjustments and share good stats with your clients is really
I completely agree. There's 2 houses for sale in my neighborhood, and it seems that they're both price cut at this point, and they're both similar properties. They both are under contract and pending, but I can almost guarantee it'd be under the list price.
Okay, so here's what this is running through my head as you guys are saying this. Give me some honest answers on this, right? So if I'm going to list a house, I'm listing a house, today's market, I heard you want to anticipate maybe this flood of buyers, and you're one of the only houses available. I get that because there's less inventory. We got it. Unless you're doing some new construction, you're going to wait. Inventory's tough. But is it better to look at the sale price of coming in and getting competing offers, like having them compete, coming in a little bit in there, right? I don't want to say under market, right on the target maybe, or just a hair under, and letting them compete for it. Them compete for it versus this crap of going and putting it. No, I just gave you my answer. Going out there, and don't you agree with me though on this?
I agree 100%. So my listing strategy is to cause sellers to understand that they cannot leave money on, or they can't underprice their home. There's no way you can underprice a home because the market will always bring that price up to that.
That's a reassuring statement. You kind of would agree with that. You got a bunch of people looking.
Yeah.
The house hits the market, and you got it 50. I'm just taking a $500,000 house. Put it 50 grand under. Somebody's going to pay it. Whoa, why are they? And then you're going to get offers. Yeah, sure.
Right. So you get the offers, and it's not to make it a crazy bidding war, but it is to bring it up to what the market will bear. And my listings have a tendency to sell relatively quickly when they're priced correctly. There will be stubborn sellers that really want to test the market the old-fashioned way. But
I'd even say are willing to hold out for the flood. See, I heard you on that, and I get it. I just think that you would pocket more money by pricing it right and letting people compete as buyers versus waiting for the flood that, we have a guy looking to refinance now. He's saving $300 a month. We drop his rate. He did a 5-year deal with Pledge with our offer that we do with buying a house.
I want to highlight it's 8.75
that's what he's at right
7.125.
And he wants to wait. It's $300 a month savings. His break-even point with the cost we're charging is under 6 months.
Yeah.
He wants to wait. See, I say take that money off the table. This is a rental property. On top, people are like, wow, you gave him an 8% rate. It's a rental property back when he bought it. Sure. Man, I think people have to manage as it goes. Stop waiting for that predicted market.
Because we can't
You're usually
predict.
wrong.
We can see some, we can see some trends which are helpful. But, again, it goes to what is your long-term goal here? Do you want to refi in this case, right?
That's what he was doing.
Sure.
But no, that sounds so simple though. But are you so dumb is what I want to say, and I can't. But are you so dumb to why wouldn't you take $300 off the table? And here's the answer. Someone listening that would call in would say, because it costs money and I'm resetting my loan. The cost of the loan is earned back in under 6 months. Break even point. We've talked about that in Mortgage Planner University. That's huge. That's huge. What makes him not do it again? But what if the election comes, something changes, we go, a different war triggers off, and the rates don't go as planned, and you just sucked wind for $300 a month with an under 6 month break even point? It goes the same hand in hand with a purchase, though. You're on the sidelines right now. They got a case study. You did a case study I had pulled that up, but we did a case study on our website as well. And that shows flat out the person buying a house is 30 grand up.
Yeah.
From buying versus renting in a year, just from appreciation.
Yeah.
You got to get in the game.
Exactly.
Take the money off the table. That's got to be some kind of gambling thing I've learned in the past. It sounds like it. Take you hold them, knowing to hold them, knowing to fold them, 704-412-2727's direct dial. Throw out Julia's number one more time if you're looking to get a hold of her direct.
704-924-1142.
All right. So fortheplan.com. We've closed a couple deals. We endorse her heavily. We've done a review. We think you do a great job with handling the clients.
Well, thank you, because I think that working with your team has been one of the highlights of my real estate career here. And I am serious about
there,
this.
though? What about there?
Oh, I had great lenders there, too. Don't worry. I'm talking specifically here that it means everything to me as a realtor. Because what happens is just by doing what you do at such a high level, that endorses me to my clients. And that's important because we want them to feel comfortable. And, if it goes with some other lender and it goes sideways, I know you've saved me with John's deal. And, it means everything, because I know you'll return my call. I know we'll get paperwork done. We'll put our heads together when there's, a little glitch. And so I can't endorse you enough, because I just look forward to being able to bring some more buyers over.
Thank you. We're happy to save the deal. It makes it fun.
Oh, that was very interesting.
It makes the job so much easier. And the client's experience is easier when everybody knows what's going on. They're playing ball. It's funny because you say, "Oh, you return my call." That's not always happening when you have when you have it in contract and the deal's going on. And we've talked and tried to call out, so it is a big deal. I wanted to give you a little bit more predictions, okay, 2024. Supply and demand. The supply of new built homes is expected to increase. I just talked about how much it was going on, right? Providing more options for buyers. However, existing inventory remains tight, which could keep prices relatively stable. That's just not an update whatsoever. Did you hear that? Like, it doesn't say anything. It's like that's the prediction of the market.
I know, but I think when you're out and about and you see the new construction that's going on, that's got to take a little of the heat off of the, pre-owned inventory. Yeah. I had some buyers that bought new construction, and they get a brand new house with a 10-year construction warranty and all the new stuff. I don't think
that's a bad move.
It wasn't for them.
Yeah.
For them, they kept their house that they were living in, bought another house, and because they wanted new construction, I researched where that new construction is, and there is a lot of it. And I think Troutman, I don't think it reached that.
No, see, that wouldn't even show up on here, but that's another yet. Up and coming. See?
Yes.
Well, it's because the averages aren't falling in line. That's what they get listening to the show. See, they get the inside scoop.
Right. Yeah. That's the important.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that just being guided by someone who knows where things are and where you should look. If this isn't working out for you, like the couple we were discussing, I said, let's go to Denver. I like Denver for these reasons. Let's see if you'll like it too. Yeah. And you'll have that option for them to look at something, and it works,
I think it's important, not only the listening that you do, the skills that take to listen to the client to find them where they're going. That is a huge piece of it. But when you look at the overall process that you are involved in, step by step as the agent, I think it makes a huge impact. I want to highlight that when they're on the show today, because that is somebody's holding your hand. And I don't want to make it sound like you're a baby and you've never done this before if you're a buyer listening. But look, there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of contract changes. There's a lot of things to walk through on the home inspection. Recently I've seen a list with all the commission changes that's on the news and stuff. There's a list floating around of like 111 things a real estate agent does. And number one is listening. Yes. And number two is negotiating with you. And that's what you're going to get here. And I think that's the part that helps you get the house now and get into some of the equity position you could be going for.
I think the negotiations is really where you get the deal.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Which is ultimately from the realtor who will help you with that.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge point. Julia, one more time, give the phone number out.
704-924-1142.
fortheplan.com. We'll have a post there for you. I'm going to also post these mortgage trends on Neighborhood, whether you like it or not. We're going to put them online, make it pretty for you so you can check out what we were showing. And again, that kind of rated that from appreciation. But I want to cap the show off with, we had talked a little bit about how all those builders are building in Mooresville and they're building them to rent. Mm-hmm. And then we bring in DSCR. Listen, these guys are taking billions and billions and billions of dollars. I'd say billions, maybe millions, call it what you want. A lot more money than a $400,000 DSCR that you might be able to invest in now and make the gains on, off all based on how the house rents, has nothing to do with your self-employment. A lot of options. 704-412-2727. You've been listening to The Plan. We'll see you next week. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.